Welcome, everyone. This is Coffee with a Founder. I'm Beck Bamberger. I am a founder. I'm doing this crazy thing called building a company from nothing. It's an amazing, fun thing to do. But fortunately or unfortunately, depends how you look or depends on the day, we are not venture-backed, but we represent and work with lots of venture-backed founders at BAM and at Big and all the things I damn do. So there we are. With us today, coming from San Francisco. Are you in San Francisco right now? Perfect. Yep. On a beautiful, look at the beautiful summer day. You're behind Justin. I love it. Is Justin Levine. He is co-founder and CEO of Shepherd. And we're going to get into why you were saying you're having such a fantastic 2025. What a great way to start it off. Like, hey, the year's going great. Good.
The year is going great.
Why?
It's been our most ambitious year. It's also just been the most rewarding year. I think, we build something, you start to reach scale, you start to reach impact, and the industry starts to really take notice of who you are beyond sort of your early adopters and the folks that, are really there with you in the beginning. And I think, honestly, the fulfillment side is why it's the best year so far. And honestly, I think, we'll probably be saying the same thing 12 months from now.
Oh, I hope so. So to be clear, for Shepherd, you have tech-enabled insurance for commercial construction.
Commercial construction and soon to be commercial energy and other sectors as well.
Oh, tell us more, because insurance is not usually like the sexiest, funnest thing. But here you are. You got to have insurance. You got to have insurance.
We joke like, so few of us like dreamed as kids of working on an insurance
tech company.
It is funny how we all end up here in some form or fashion. Although there's a couple of us here that are true insurance nerds that come from that background. But we're a platform, multi-sector platform. Commercial construction is one of the most complex and also most important industries in the world. So what better industry, frankly, to start with in terms of focusing our attention and our efforts. But our ambitions, our dreams are to go bigger than construction. And we think that a lot of the things that we do in construction that are unique and differentiated and some of the impact that we're making applies. So when you think about other markets that are also similar to construction in different ways, energy, renewables, and power, things like real estate, agriculture, these are all kind of, large industry verticals that need help when it comes to risk management and ultimately the financial services companies that support them. So that's a little bit of the why, jumping ahead, not just going to be construction, but historically have been focused on the construction market.
One of the first things to start, which by the way is already a multi-billion gazillion dollar industry, so you could just stop there if you wanted to. Is this a classic case, I would imagine, Justin, of it's just an antiquated industry, everything is so damn slow? For example, you're saying you have decisions in hours instead of weeks for probably insurance coverage and stuff. So is it that classic of a case, or is there something else about a construction that is bespoke or nuanced that we don't know maybe?
I think the fun part of insurance for construction is actually it's a collision of two very, very antiquated industries.
Insurance is number one.
Insurance on its own, regardless of sector, is in some ways worse than construction. Construction has made some dramatic changes over the last decade. And, one of the sort of examples I just point to is my own experience. Like I was a civil engineer. I started on a job site. I was literally handed a clipboard with a bunch of printouts, and I was meant to go walk the job site and like literally write down what I was seeing. And I had a little point and shoot digital camera. And, a lot of those types of processes are now completely replaced. And we actually see it in the data. There's just a lot more adoption of tech. So construction has made some big leaps forward, but we do love the intersection of two industries that really are still at the early stages of their adoption cycle of technology. The other thing I think that makes it
I was just going to say the thing that has spurred for me, because I was in a doctor's eye appointment last week and I was literally with the clipboard filling out information, which Justin, how many of us have filled out, name, your social, you're on a clipboard in a medical office. And I'm like, And so my thing to you, which is probably, is it on a clipboard? Is it on a clipboard? Is this industry on a clipboard? Okay. Then we need to definitely inject some tech there. Like, okay, yes.
I think construction has actually moved faster than insurance, believe it or not. I think construction is
Oh,
less and less a clipboard industry on the commercial side.
okay.
There's still a lot of pockets of construction that are, true manual process
Mm-hmm.
paperwork type of businesses.
Mm,
To be honest, the other thing that is like more attractive than just, process efficiency gains and opportunity to apply tech is just the fact that insurance as a function is so meaningful in construction.
mm,
Meaning the cost of insurance is really, really significant.
yeah.
If you go to, pick a random, industry, e-commerce, whatever it might be, um, the ability for an insurance company to change behavior of their client is very low, because they may just look at it and say, look, this is a frictional cost that I don't really, I may not love it, but I don't really, pay attention to it. But in construction, on the commercial scale, your insurance rates really do dictate your competitive advantage or disadvantage. And so when we thought about the value of innovation and the value of driving costs downwards, we have a direct line of connection to revenue for the businesses that we are partnering with. And so that makes it also quite attractive, is just the importance of insurance from a cost basis. And that also applies to other, large scale industry verticals as well.
Mm. Hmm. So you were saying back when you were coming upon this idea, you were struggling with it, you were seeing it up front. Give us a little bit more detail on, like, how did you see the problem?
Yeah, my career started on the user side, if you will. I was a
Yep.
buyer of insurance. I worked as a risk manager at a very
List
large
trade tap.
contractor.
Yep. Yep.
Pre-trade tap,
Oh,
I worked
Hunter
for
Roberts Construction
yeah, I
Group.
worked
Yeah.
for
Granite
Hunter Roberts, which is
Construction.
a
Yep.
big
Yeah. Big.
$1 billion plus general contractor in
Yeah.
New York, building some really iconic projects.
Yeah.
So I was on the buying side for insurance, and really kind of seeing, just like rising costs, seeing the inefficiency of the motion, the process. And honestly, the first startup that I did, TradeTap, had nothing to do with insurance purchasing, but very much had to do with how could contractors like Hunter Roberts improve their risk profile to get better insurance rates.
Mm.
And so pure software company sold to other risk managers, in many cases CFOs or
Mm-hmm.
CEOs of other larger scale construction companies. We ended up selling that business. We
There you
were
go.
acquired by Autodesk, and Autodesk is one of the biggest
Yep.
construction tech providers. And the problem of Shepherd, I think, started to be discovered for me, at least there, in some respects. At Autodesk, we were uniquely focused. I mean, the Autodesk has a lot of different products, but for me, I was focused on other risk management or fintech solutions.
Mm-hmm.
We had partnerships in the insurance arena. And the partnerships with the insurance companies really always started with this idea of how do we work together? And then ultimately it sort of fell apart when we got to like real data or real analysis. It would
Mm-hmm.
always stay at kind of a marketing level. And so
Mm.
we founded Shepherd because we felt like there was a really large opportunity being missed, which was that the value of construction technology could be quantified. It could be quantified and built into the underwriting process. And then ultimately we could build a program that rewards companies for investing in these tools.
Oh, there
And
you
so
go. Mm.
that was the narrative that we started with, the thesis, and we've had so much fun kind of discovering and proving that narrative, and obviously, building so many other pieces of it along the way.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Okay. Shifting a little bit to more like the hiring of this, because, okay, you just told us like you were deep in the trenches, you felt the problem so much, so it made so much sense. From a recruiting basis,
Yeah.
how do you recruit for this? And the reason I ask that is because this is not necessarily, hey, we're sending weather balloons up into the sky in space and we're working with NASA or something like that. Some founders have that opportunity to be like, don't you want to join this mission?
Yeah.
Yours maybe is, we're in construction and we're in insurance, and isn't that sexy? Want to join?
Yeah. It's actually a very funny problem. So like on the
Okay.
insurance side of the
Yeah.
business, we have a lot of insurance folks, underwriters who come from traditional, companies, large scale traditional companies. They look at Shepherd and they're like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen, because it basically takes my job and completely revolutionizes it and makes it quite different. And so for them, it's like easy to talk about the value of Shepherd. Now, what you're talking about is the sort of funny part, which is like, how do we recruit from traditional tech companies and roles that like software engineering or customer success or things that are, more of in the Silicon Valley world.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's so much more about storytelling and talking about the value of what it means to make construction happen at large scales.
Yeah.
Most people, they don't care about insurance. They're not interested, or they don't
No.
find insurance
No.
interesting, at least until they get here. And oftentimes they find
Yes.
people who are like, this is really interesting.
Mm.
Um, but insurance is about how do we like make sure that more things are built, in particular here in the United States. And so we say, hey, like, look at these, large scale residential buildings that are being built to house more people, or look at this big stadium that's going to be built to entertain, thousands of people, and, support a new sports team that you might be a fan of. Or let's talk about like, the new high school that's being built in, this part of Texas. Or
Hmm.
and so, we try to bring, I'd say, tangible, touch points to, physical assets that live in the world that people can literally point to and say, hey, I
Yeah.
was part of making that happen. And that's when it gets really
Yeah.
interesting. And I think that's what we have to lean on most when it comes to recruiting.
Okay, I like the title, like the thing you see, you walk into, you admire from the boat on the tour, whatever. Like someone built that. That had to come happen. That is, and I feel that that's so underplayed because man, the whole world that we absorb and like look and admire is through construction and people literally building with their hands and machines. But that's a beautiful thing and an industry that is so, I think, underappreciated.
Yeah, it's also like the reality is that if innovation doesn't come to the insurance side, it means less things get built, and
Yeah.
the challenge that we think is so important, and that's
Mm,
the reason we exist. That's why we want to be here. Is we want to make this industry smarter and more efficient, so that
mhm.
more more assets are built. We have major housing crises
We
across
do.
most
We
cities
do.
in the
Yes.
U.S.
Yes.
um, we've got needs for new infrastructure, roads, bridges, tunnels,
Yep.
that are being rated at D plus, D minus, in terms of their grades, and dramatically need to be
Yes.
renovated and fixed and
Yes.
accommodated to the modern needs.
Yeah.
And so to me, it's just about like how do we be part of that real world solution. And I think once you talk about like solving really real problems that people can
Mhm.
literally like look at and touch, it
And
gets very
experience,
exciting.
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Maybe you have a huge advantage here because it's not AI in the space that you'll never see and it's a bot or something, but it's actually like you could point to the literal infrastructures that
Yeah,
you all
and
help.
it's let's use
Hmm.
AI to solve these problems, which
Yes,
is a big
yes.
part of kind of our back end, and the things that we're building on a technical basis. Is
Yeah.
like AI is a great tool. It's a functional tool to really think differently about the way that industries like insurance underwriting or even construction have existed for
Mhm,
100 years.
mhm.
Um, so it's a real world application of
Ah,
the coolest technologies that are coming to market today,
yeah.
and that's a huge reason why our whole product and engineering team is here in San Francisco, because we want to capture the people that are
Mm,
already
mm.
engaged in those types of companies and products.
Okay, so maybe that's a hot take that you can go down a little bit, Justin. So you're a bit believer of like the in person, you're in office, it sounds like. Tell
Yeah.
us more. You're in SF, the mecca of everything. Okay, this is a very
Yeah,
controversial thing.
we're an in-office company.
Okay.
We have
Yeah.
offices here in San Francisco, where our whole product and engineering team is located, and we also have an office in New York and then one in Dallas as well. So we're not 100% co-located in the same place,
Yes.
but everywhere
Yes.
we are located, generally, we're a 5-day in-office company, and we just think that that's a really important element of creating a culture, creating like a velocity around how we work, how we learn, how we transfer knowledge. Um, so much of
Mm,
what we build from a technical basis, from a platform perspective or a technology perspective, is to serve our own underwriting team. And I just think that it would be crazy to have an underwriting team that is not sitting, next to the people that are building the products that they're going to be using. And so we just think that's a huge advantage for us, that we can, really cut down on a lot of things that get lost in translation in a typical remote environment, and also kind of spurn the type of creativity that we want. So for me, in person, I just think is a multiplier. There's a million reasons why companies structure themselves to be remote, and I think there's good reasons. And so like I really look at it as like it's the right choice for our business, for our company, and what we're trying to accomplish. Um, And I just think that for us, it makes a huge difference. And so we've continued to, double and triple down on it, while also recognizing there's value in having different hubs and different people in different geographies. And so we have a little bit of the best of both worlds, I'd say in that sense.
We are fully dispersed, which is a bummer because it is so fun to be in person. But I do love the East Coast, West Coast time because it's like 6 a.m. PT to 6 p.m. PT. Like we're there's coverage, there's things on there. So there's pluses and minuses for sure.
Yeah.
Do you find it challenging to recruit for construction, insurance-y in those markets specifically? Or you're like, no, what is the biggest recruiting issue, if there is one at all?
It's definitely challenging. I mean, recruiting is, if you want to do what we're doing and you want to compete with, all of these, large enterprise AI businesses, you're definitely gonna have challenges. It's not gonna be easy. I think and then layering on things like, hey, we're full time in office, 5-day a week company. There's some automatic filters that we apply to the process.
Yeah.
Now, I think to me, what that does is it shrinks the top of our funnel because it just means a lot of people are going to self-select out. But
yeah, exactly.
We're also
in a way, how refreshing.
Yeah, but we're also not a 1,500 person company. We're a 50-person company. And so, to me, AI also means that you can build a lot more with the same number of people. And, so I think that like the way companies are getting built today is fundamentally different than when it was, when I was doing my first startup. And we don't need a large scale engineering team to accomplish our roadmap and our goals. When I say large scale, I mean like hundreds of people. Like we accomplish a ton with an engineering team of 20.
Yeah.
And so, I just think that like it's something that we evaluate all the time. Does it make sense to have the team? Are these the right filters to be putting in place? Should we be thinking about? There's some things that I think are like just locked for us. Like we're not going to move on 5 days a week. Like we think that's critical, but will we eventually have engineers in other locations outside of San Francisco, New York being one of them? Like probably. Yeah. But we'll get there in time.
At your leisure.
Yeah.
So at this point, Justin, you were saying earlier you're having like the best year ever because now people are like adopting. You have the momentum. You've raised a good chunk of money. You don't need to raise more money right now. It sounds like you got the in-person thing. So like, again, you get the people that filter out. What's keeping you up at night, if there's anything?
There's always a number of like, areas of the business that maybe aren't, working exactly how you want them to. And so those are the things that I think as a founder, you kind of obsessed over more so than like all the things that are going right. We just wrapped up Q2 and we're looking back and we try to have like a pretty fast iteration cycle on, reviewing what happened, what went well, what didn't go well. And, we had, by almost every measure, we had our best quarter ever in Q2. But, the team spent, the whole postmortem just talking about like, here are all the areas where we wish we could have been better. Segments of the business that we want to grow into, and or areas where we feel like the messaging that we had didn't land in the way that we wanted it to. But these are like champagne problems, I suppose, in this environment. So
those are founder champagne problems. Yes.
Yeah, we're in a good spot. I think, the things that keep me up at night are largely kind of just like the long tail of all the different things happening across a really fast growing business.
Great. Those are champagne. Yes. Do you ever feel too? I was talking with a friend about this. That you are so happy for your problems, like you wouldn't trade your problems for somebody else's problems during the week or anytime or whatever.
Yeah,
because everyone has problems. Sure. Like if you're existing on this planet, you got problems. You're an adult, you got problems. But which problems do I have, and would I choose them again?
Yeah,
my
I think there's like
yes.
fundamental problems of a business or a startup that are like, the blinking sort of red lights that maybe as a founder you're aware of that somebody else that's looking in on the outside, even sometimes like investors are not necessarily going to pick up on. And those are the things that you sort of in your heart of hearts, like I actually don't have product market fit, or like this isn't working the way
Yep.
that it really needs to work. And even though we're like growing or things are working, like it's all sort
It's
of
not
like
over here.
a bit
Yeah.
of a house of cards.
Yep.
So yeah, I think like when I think about our products and what we're doing, I definitely feel like our problems are, ones that I wouldn't trade for somebody else's. I feel like we're dealing with stuff that I would, I think most people would agree are pretty common for companies at our stage, and I'd say things that I like enjoy working on as well. Like things that I'm, they're not painful. They're more just like, hey, this is like, it's kind of interesting. I got to go figure out a way to solve this thing.
And what would you say, like right now in this current time, are you like, oh, I am solving for? Not the
Like,
bigger, huge market thing. Like I'm like in the mind of like, Justin, you woke up, it's Monday on July 14th. Like, what were you like? Damn it, I got to fix this.
Um, I was going to say something different, which is like, we have a resourcing challenge. We only have so many things we can work on.
Yeah.
We have a lot of demand to scale and to expand our business,
Mm,
both in terms of the products that we offer and underwrite in the market, and
mm,
our capabilities are pretty broad. So like we offer casualty products across general liability, workers' comp, commercial auto, and those are the main drivers of business for most of our companies. And there's like areas we want to expand into, and then there's only so much bandwidth for us to be able to like support them from a technology perspective today. And so like we have to pick and choose where are we deploying our time.
mm-hmm.
I would say AI is another example of that, where we've got these expansion vectors that are driving kind of the next 24 months of our business that we want to invest into today. And then the question becomes, okay, how much can we invest into just thinking about how to like revolutionize the way we've done things because of now all the
Mm,
advancement in AI. We want to invest more resources into AI, want to have an
yeah.
AI dedicated roadmap, but that's a bit of a luxury
Hmm.
when you feel like you've already got teams dedicated to really important kind of
Yeah.
growth drivers. So if we could hire faster,
Isn't
we would.
isn't that the
That's
irony?
another
Isn't that
thing.
the irony?
Yeah.
Like you're building an AI company to make things more efficient, and you're like, and I can't get more efficient myself because we're so buried. Like, like it's just
Yeah, it's just
ah,
it's a managed. I think like we're not like, it's probably a good thing. Like you can't, we're
yeah,
not in a position to like over allocate a bunch of resources and burn a ton of capital
yeah,
on bets. Like we have a lot of like big bets. I think bets, we have a lot of like asymmetrical bets that we feel like are going to yield really big upside, but they're thoughtful bets and things that we've calculated and really done the analysis on. AI can represent sort of like a
yeah,
total flame out and a waste of time, or it could be like generationally changing
yeah,
for our business, et
yes.
cetera. um, and I think I want to have a little bit more investment there. I think we all do, and we're getting there. It's just hiring and staffing and resourcing is important as we think
Hmm.
about that.
Hmm. If you could talk to you from like 10 years ago, what would you say as our ending question here?
If I could talk to myself 10 years
Yeah.
ago, I would say think bigger, dream bigger. um,
Really?
my first
Yeah.
startup, I was like very narrow focus on my own pain point,
Huh.
as somebody that was running a risk management team
Yeah.
for on the client side. And I was very much like, how do I solve this problem? And ultimately what we built was a really great point solution that was a great acquisition target.
Hmm.
When we were acquired, and I got to spend more time with larger scale companies, and Autodesk had acquired other startups as well, which was a fun experience because there's other founders there. I think I was just really impressed, and also in some ways kind of jealous at how big and grand their visions were for their companies. And I think I ended up taking that experience and obviously like really taking it to heart when we started Shepherd. And that's so many of the reasons why we want to do something beyond just construction.
Mm.
uh but yeah, I think 10 years ago like was very narrow focus, very linear, very much how do we like solve this thing and get to the next thing, and not like how do we change this and impact this industry.
Mm.
And hopefully I've learned that lesson now, and have and built that into Shepherd.
Mm. Very cool. Justin, thank you for being here today. This was fun in beautiful San Francisco. As you see, it's a glorious day there. It's beautiful in San Diego here. Justin Levine is the co-founder and CEO of Shepherd, solving all the things as it relates to insurance and commercial construction. For now, until there's more. Until there's more. Thank you, Justin. This was fun.
Thanks, Beck. This is fun. Hopefully that was hopefully
Oh
that hit it.
Yes, we had a great time. Always, the greats always have a great time.
Cool.
That's what I tell
Cool.
the team.
That felt quick. It was good.
Thanks. Hey, well, yeah, exactly. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay. Talk to you soon.
So Justin, yeah.
Oh, okay.
You know what I need to tell? I need to tell founders this, like, wait, like, give it a pause. This is like in broadcast days when I used to work in TV, like, like give it a pause. So great. We're going to clip it right there. All good.
Do you want to do that ending again? I can just say thanks and then
yeah,
pause.
you want to do it again? Okay, great. We're going to do a little edit note. Okay. So let me go back here and say, well, Justin, thank you for being on today. Justin Levine, co-founder and CEO of Shepherd, solving the mysteries or needs of tech-enabled insurance and commercial construction, at least for right now. More to come.
Thanks,
you,
Beck.
Justin.
I appreciate it. It's great to be here.